Well, good morning, everyone. I will now call to order the July 17th, 2025 Clackamas County Board of Commissioners Business Meeting. County Administrator Gary Schmidt, would you please call the roll for us?
Yes, thank you, Chair Roberts. First, our staff support today, Clerk to the Board, Andrew Jiraki. County Counsel is Interim County Counsel, Billy Williams. Welcome to your first meeting as Interim County Counsel, Billy. Commissioner Savas is returning from the Joint Committee on Transportation. He'll be here shortly. Roll call. Commissioner Helm.
Here.
Commissioner Schrader.
Here.
Commissioner West.
Here.
Chair Roberts.
Here. Thank you, Gary. Would you please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, our first item today is public communication, and I want to welcome everyone. So testimony is limited to 3 minutes. I ask that your comments be respectful and courteous. As a reminder, you can also email submissions for public communication at bcc@clackamas.us, and these will be accepted as a part of the public record. If you wish to comment about either of the two items on today's agenda that will receive their own specific public hearing, I'd ask you please wait until that public hearing on that item to comment on. And I will now open the meeting to general public testimony. I'll take in-person testimony first. So Clerk, would you please moderate the in-person and virtual testimony for us?
Thank you, Chair. I've currently received no blue cards for those who wish to comment in person. This is a final opportunity if you're attending this meeting in person today and wish to comment during the general public comment period today to please fill out a blue card and deposit in the box found by the center doors. Mr. Chair, with your assent, seeing no members of the public physically present today who wish to comment, I'll now move to virtual testimony. If you're attending this meeting virtually and like to comment, this is your opportunity to please raise your hand, and I will call on you in the order that I see. Mr. Chair, I see no members of the public present virtually today. Therefore, I see no members of the public either physically present or virtual who wish to comment during general public communication today.
All right, thank you, Andrew. I will now close the general public communication portion and move on, so I'll turn to Gary. What do you have next on the agenda?
Thank you, Chair. There are two public hearings. The first public hearing is second public hearing and approval of amendments to County Code Chapter 2.07, Compliance Hearings Officer, and Chapter 5.01, Animal Licensing, Services, and Enforcement, and declaring an emergency. Jeff Munns, Assistant County Counsel, will present. Go ahead, please.
Thank you. Good morning, Chair. Commissioners, this is the second reading of this proposed ordinance to amend Chapter 207, the Compliance Hearings Officer Ordinance. And what this would do is allow citations to be issued in building code violation cases, and this is consistent with the fines and fees that you approved last month for the increase for these building code violations. The second portion of this ordinance is to amend Chapter 501, the Animal Licensing, Services, and Enforcement chapter of our code. This would waive the licensing fee for assistance animals for residents with a mental impairment. Currently, it's just for a physical impairment, and this would bring our code in alignment with the ADA. The second component of the change in 501 is to allow citations to be mailed by first-class mail as well as personal service instead of certified mail. We find that people don't pick up their certified mail, and we'd rather have them be aware of this than not. So first-class mail is proven to work better in those circumstances. So we'll make this change. And this ordinance is also including a declaring an emergency clause. The purpose for that is that it will allow this change to become immediate as of today if you approve this ordinance, instead of waiting. In this way, it brings it in line with those fines and fees that were passed earlier last month. To pass a ordinance by declaring an emergency, you do need to vote unanimously in this circumstance. And so, happy to answer any questions you have at this time.
All right. Questions from any of my colleagues? Seeing none, I think we'll go ahead and move on. Since we have no questions from my commissioners, or our commissioners, I should say, I will now open the public hearing on this item. Clerk, would you please moderate the in-person and virtual testimony?
Thank you, Chair. This is a final call if you're attending this meeting in person, wish to comment on this specific item, to please fill out a blue card and deposit in the box by the door. Seeing no members of the public physically present who wish to comment on this specific item, and seeing no members of the public who are attending virtually, Chair, I see no members of the public today, either virtually or in person, wish to comment on this specific matter.
All right, I will now close the public hearing and ask if there's any further discussion. Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to read the ordinance by title only.
Chair, I move we read the ordinance by title only.
Second.
Right. Commissioner Helm has moved to read the ordinance by title only. Commissioner Schrader has seconded. Any further discussion? Seeing none, clerk, would you please call the poll?
Commissioner West.
Aye.
Commissioner Savis.
Aye.
Commissioner Schrader.
Aye.
Commissioner Helm.
Aye.
Mr. Chair.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0, Mr. Chair.
All right, thank you, clerk. Would you please read the ordinance by title only?
Yes, Mr. Chair. The ordinance is numbered 01-2025, an ordinance amending Clackamas County Code, Chapter 2.07, Compliance Hearings Officer, and Clackamas County Code, Chapter 5.01, Animal Licensing, Services, and Enforcement, and declaring an emergency.
Thank you, Andrew. Any of my colleagues have any proposed amendments to the draft ordinance? Seeing none, if there's no proposed changes, I'll entertain a motion to approve the ordinance.
I move we approve ordinance 01-2025.
I'll second that.
All right, Commissioner Helm has moved to approve the ordinance 01-2025. Commissioner Schrader has seconded. Any further discussion? Seeing none, clerk, would you please call the poll?
Commissioner Savis.
Aye.
Commissioner West.
Aye.
Commissioner Schrader.
Aye.
Commissioner Helm.
Aye.
Mr. Chair.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Andrew. Gary, what's next up on our public hearing agenda for today?
Thank you. The next public hearing is public hearing for the removal of County Code Section 2.05.160.4, extended sick leave, and Section 2.05.070.17, veterans preference, and declaring an emergency. Jeff will also present this item.
Thank you. This is an ordinance that you've seen now 3 times. As it turns out, you had a policy session back in May 5th of this year, and then it was presented in 2 different public hearings on June 12th, 2025, and June 26th, 2025. However, there was not an ordinance included in that presentation, so we're here to adopt this in a single meeting. We haven't done this in quite some time, but when you do that, according to the statute, what we needed to do was post this proposed amendment in 3 places in the county, which you've done, outside this hearings office, the hearings room, at the courthouse, and in the Oak Lodge Library. It was also published in a newspaper of general circulation in the county, which we have done, and then we are here today to adopt this ordinance. What this one does, if you recall, was to remove the extended sick leave portion of the personnel ordinance in 2.05.160.4 and replace that with EPP 11. I'm sorry, EPP 40. Yeah, EPP 11, sorry. The other section that's being removed concerns veterans preference. That's 2.05.070.17, and that's been replaced by EPP 43. So by adopting this in this meeting today and declaring an emergency, it would remove it immediately and have immediate effects, so just the EPP takes the place of these personnel ordinance provisions. To do so, you need to read it by title only and be unanimous to be consistent with the statute, and to pass it unanimously as well. If you don't, what we'll do is simply, this will be the first hearing on this ordinance, and we'll bring it back in 2 weeks and adopt it in the normal course, and then it would take 90 days to be effective. So it's kind of a lot of procedure versus substance in this one, because you've already heard the substance in the past presentations, but happy to answer any questions you have.
All right, colleagues, questions? Right. If not, I will now open a public hearing on this item. So again, clerk, would you please moderate the in-person and virtual testimony on this matter?
Thank you, Chair. If you're attending this meeting in person and wish to comment on this specific item, this is your final opportunity to please fill out a blue card and deposit it in the box, which can be found by the center doors. Seeing no members of the public physically present wish to comment on this specific item, and seeing no members of the public attending virtually, Chair, I see no other members of the public today who wish to comment on this item, either in person or virtually.
All right, thank you, Andrew. I will now close the public hearing and ask if there's any further discussion from my colleagues. Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to read the ordinance by title only.
I move we
read the ordinance by title only.
I'll second.
All right, Commissioner Savas has moved to read the ordinance by title only. Commissioner Schrader has seconded. Any further discussion? Seeing none, clerk, would you please call the poll?
Commissioner West.
Aye.
Commissioner Helm.
Aye.
Commissioner Schrader.
Aye.
Commissioner Savas.
Aye.
Mr. Chair.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. And Andrew, would you please assign a number and read the title of the ordinance only for us?
Yes, Mr. Chair. The ordinance is numbered 02-2025, an ordinance amending Clackamas County Code, Chapter 2.05, Personnel Policies and Procedures for Clackamas County Employees, and declaring an emergency.
Thank you. Do the commissioners have any proposed amendments to the draft ordinance? And I see Commissioner West.
I just have a question, and it's procedural. It doesn't seem like an emergency. Can you, maybe I should know this, but I don't. Why are we declaring an emergency? What does that mean?
Expediency. Basically,
Expediency.
we've gone through the whole process, and any further delays continues this kind of this sort of inconsistency between our code and our policies.
Okay.
And the code would control, because it's the higher order, essentially. It's the legislative function of this body.
Yeah.
So by removing that, we remove that conflict and allow the policies that have been approved to control.
Is there a certain bar that has to be reached, or is it up to the discretion of the board on what is an emergency?
It's up to the discretion of the board.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Any other questions? So if there's no proposed changes, I'll entertain a motion to approve of the ordinance, approval of the ordinance.
I move we approve ordinance 02-2025.
Second. You beat me.
And I think Helm was quick there. Commissioner Schrader has moved to approve the ordinance 02-2025. Commissioner Helm has seconded. Any further discussion? Seeing none, clerk, would you please call the poll?
Commissioner West.
Aye.
Commissioner Savas.
Aye.
Commissioner Helm.
Aye.
Commissioner Schrader.
Aye.
Mr. Chair.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0, Mr. Chair.
All right, thank you. Gary, what's next on our agenda?
Thank you, Chair. Next is reading and adoption of a previously approved land use ordinance. It is adoption of previously approved comprehensive plan amendment ZDO-292 Walk Bike Clackamas Plan. Caleb Hugel, Assistant County Counsel, will present.
Good morning, Commissioners. The item this morning is to adopt an ordinance approving ZDO 292, which would amend the Clackamas County Comprehensive Plan to adopt the Walk Bike Clackamas Plan. On April 14th, 2025, the Planning Commission held a public hearing on the amendments and voted to recommend that the board approve them as recommended by staff, with one modification to add a project involving the installation of a new enhanced crosswalk on Highway 26 in Rhododendron. The board held a public hearing on the amendments on May 13, 2025, which was continued to June 3rd and June 17th, and it voted 4-1 to approve them as recommended by the Planning Commission with an additional modification, changing the priority of Project N303, paved shoulders on Stafford Road south of I-205, from Tier 3 to Tier 2. The ordinance before you today would approve ZDO 292 as recommended by the Planning Commission with the board modification. Findings supporting the decision are attached as an exhibit to the ordinance. It's staff's recommendation that you adopt the ordinance, and staff and I would be happy to answer any questions that you have.
All right, colleagues, questions? All right, if not, I'll entertain a motion to read the ordinance by title only.
I move we read the ordinance by title only.
I'll second.
All right, Commissioner Schrader has moved to read the ordinance by title only. Commissioner West has seconded. Any further discussion? Seeing none, clerk, would you please call the poll?
Commissioner Helm.
Aye.
Commissioner Savas.
Aye.
Commissioner Schrader.
Aye.
Commissioner West.
Aye.
Mr. Chair.
Aye.
Motion passed. Mr. Chair.
Thank you. And clerk, would you please read the ordinance by title only for us?
The ordinance is numbered ZDO 292, an ordinance amending the Clackamas County Comprehensive Plan to adopt the Walk Bike Clackamas Plan.
All right, may I please have a motion for an adoption?
I move we adopt ZDO 292 as previously approved at the June 17th, 2025 land use hearing.
Second.
All right. I'm sorry, I got behind there. Okay, Commissioner Schrader has moved to adopt the ZDO 292 as previously approved at the June 17, 2025 land use hearing. Commissioner Helm is second. Any further discussion?
Yes, Chair, just a couple comments. I know we've been through a number of discussions on this, and I principally voted no against this, not because of the plan, but because of the alterations that were being made, not in consistency with what the advisory group did all their hard work on, and the staff recommendation, that combined one. And my concern was that it somehow has been, because people have reached out to me during this period of time about their concern about the efforts being circumvented geographically and not really done in a way equal and fair to everyone. So that's been the history of being the one person who didn't vote for it. However, today, I am going to support this motion to adopt it in respect for all the hard work and content that's in there. And I just ask my colleagues to just please recognize that it's a large county with a lot of needs, and most of those needs and the disparity is on the east side of the county, east of Willamette River, and on the west side. I'm not saying everything's there and everything's safe and everything is, up to snuff. It's not. But the disparity is striking. And so to favor a project on the west side of the river, an alteration, and not recognize I think some greater safety needs on the east side is somewhat unfair. So I anticipated at the last meeting that I would make a number of alterations of my own to help balance that, but I thought that would extend things and make things more difficult. So I'm just kind of given up on that, and I'm going to support this today. But I hope that this is something that we all recognize. The needs on the east side and the investments on the east side are far behind that of the west side.
Great. Any other comments? All right, seeing none. Clerk, would you please call the poll for us?
Commissioner West.
Aye.
Commissioner Savis.
Aye.
Commissioner Schrader.
Aye.
Commissioner Helm.
Aye.
Mr. Chair.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0, Mr. Chair.
All right, thank you. And Commissioner Savis, thank you for your comments as well. Gary, can you tell us what's next on the agenda?
Yes, thank you, Chair. Next is the consent agenda. Andrew, would you please read the consent agenda?
Consent agenda for the Board of County Commissioners. Item A, elected officials. 1, approval of previous business meeting minutes for the Board of County Commissioners. 2, approval of a personal services contract with CODA for opioid abuse treatment within the county jail. Contract value is $366,358 for 1 year. Funding is to the Oregon Criminal Justice Commission. No county general funds are involved. B, County Administration. 1, approval of a board order for limited delegation to hear and decide a noise variance appeal. No fiscal impact. No county general funds are involved. C, County Council. 1, approval of a resolution for renewal of the cable television franchise with Astound Broadband. Resolution value is for 10 years. Funding is through franchise fees. No county general funds are involved. 2, approval of a settlement agreement and quitclaim deed with Donna L. Lauterbach for tax lot 3500 located in the Carver area. No fiscal impact. No county general funds are involved. D, Finance. 1, approval of a contract with A1 Integrity for window washing services. Contract value is $261,623 for 3 years. Funding is through budgeted departmental cost allocations, which does include a small portion of budgeted county general funds. 2, approval of an amendment to a contract with GovOS for short-term rental regulation administration services. Amendment value is $35,927.86 for 6 months. Total contract value is $164,539.30 for 2 years. Funding is through short-term rental program fees for services. No county general funds are involved. 3, approval of a personal services contract with Baker Tilly Advisory Group for annual comprehensive financial report drafting. Contract value is $245,890 for 5 years. Funding is through budgeted county general funds. E, Technology Services. 1, approval of a contract with RICO USA for a cloud-based electronic records management system. Contract value is $228,190 for 3 years. Funding is through budgeted departmental cost allocations, which does include a small portion of budgeted county general funds. F, Transportation and Development. 1, approval of a supplemental project authorization with the Oregon Department of Transportation for upgrades to traffic signals. Agreement value is $1,040,000 for 10 years. Funding is through federal surface transportation block grant funds and county road funds. No county general funds are involved. 2, approval of grant application to the Oregon Department of Transportation for Canby Ferry ramp improvements. Application value is $640,000 with a required match of $160,000 in county road funds. No county general funds are involved. 3, approval of a public improvement contract with Akin Corporation for replacement of a driver-damaged traffic signal and intersection improvements at 82nd Drive and Jennifer Street. Contract value is $816,913 for 1 year. Funding is through driver's insurance, reimbursements, and county road funds. No county general funds are involved. 4, approval of a public improvement contract with North Star Electrical Contractors for radar speed feedback signs. Contract value is $284,450 for 6 months. Funding is through community road funds. No county general funds are involved. 5, approval of an amendment to a contract with Emery & Sons Construction Company Group for a pavement overlay on Jennings Avenue from Oregon 99 East to Oatfield Road. Amendment value is $759,695.02 for 5 months. Total agreement value is $6,075,399.77 for 2 years. Funding is through county road funds. No county general funds are involved. 6, approval of a goods and services contract with Southwest Solutions Group for library shelving at the new Oak Lodge Library. Contract value is $492,122.79 for 6 months. Funding is through library operating funds, including beginning fund balance, annual library district distribution, and program reimbursements. No county general funds are involved. 7, approval of a goods and services contract with MK Solutions for library self-checkout kiosks. Contract value is $362,569 for 5 years. Funding is through Libraries in Clackamas County Network member reimbursements from cities and $294,725 in budgeted county general funds. G, Health, Housing, and Human Services. 1, approval of an amendment to a personal services contract with Transcending Hope for behavioral health housing program operations. Amendment value is $751,678.92 for 2 years. Total contract value is $1,120,855.52 for 3 years. Funding is the Oregon Health Authority. No county general funds are involved. 2, approval of an amendment to an intergovernmental agreement with the Oregon Health Authority for community mental health, addiction treatment, recovery and prevention, and problem gambling services. Amendment rescinds $175,000 due to underutilization of funds. Total agreement value is reduced to $17,344,981.22 for 18 months. Funding is through the Oregon Health Authority. No county general funds are involved. 3, approval of an intergovernmental agreement with Multnomah Education Service for Medicaid administrative claiming, technical support, and billing services. Agreement value is $73,756.50 for 1 year. Funding is through the Oregon Health Authority. No county general funds are involved. 4, approval of a weatherization services contract with Aladdin Heating and Air Conditioning to weatherize and reduce energy costs of low-income homes. Contract value is $1,050,000 for 2 years. Funding is the Oregon Department of Housing and Community Services. No county general funds are involved. 5, approval of a weatherization services contract with Alpha Energy Savers to weatherize and reduce energy costs of low-income homes. Contract value is $1,050,000 for 2 years. Funding is the Oregon Department of Housing and Community Services. No county general funds are involved. 6, approval of weatherization services contract with B&G Excavation and Plumbing to weatherize and reduce energy costs for low-income homes. Contract value is $1,050,000 for 2 years. Funding is through the Oregon Department of Housing and Community Services. No county general funds are involved. 7, approval of a weatherization services contract with Comfort Installation Specialists to weatherize and reduce energy costs for low-income homes. Contract value is $1,050,000 for 2 years. Funding is through the Oregon Department of Housing and Community Services. No county general funds are involved. 8, approval of a weatherization services contract with Energy Comfort and Construction to weatherize and reduce energy costs for low-income homes. Contract value is $1,050,000 for 2 years. Funding is through the Oregon Department of Housing and Community Services. No county general funds are involved. 9, approval of a weatherization services contract with Electech Lighting and Electric to weatherize and reduce energy costs for low-income homes. Contract value is $1,050,000 for 2 years. Funding is through the Oregon Department of Housing and Community Services. No county general funds are involved. 10, approval of a weatherization services contract with Four Seasons Heating and Air Conditioning to weatherize and reduce energy costs for low-income homes. Contract value is $1,050,000 for 2 years. Funding is through the Oregon Department of Housing and Community Services. No county general funds are involved. 11, approval of a weatherization services contract with Richard Family to weatherize and reduce energy costs for low-income homes. Contract value is $1,050,000 for 2 years. Funding is through the Oregon Department of Housing and Community Services. No county general funds are involved. 12, approval of a weatherization services contract with Sky Insulation to weatherize and reduce energy costs for low-income homes. Contract value is $1,050,000 for 2 years. Funding is through the Oregon Department of Housing and Community Services. No county general funds are involved. 13, approval of a weatherization services contract with Trinity Plumbing to weatherize and reduce energy costs for low-income homes. Contract value is $1,050,000 for 2 years. Funding is through the Oregon Department of Housing and Community Services. No county general funds are involved. 14, approval of an amendment to a personal services contract with Assist for Social Security Disability Insurance application aids. Amendment value is $600,000 for 2 years. Total contract value is $1,050,000 for 3 years. Funding is through Supportive Housing Services Measure funds. No county general funds are involved. 15, approval to apply for a directly appropriated grant from Oregon Housing and Community Services for homelessness prevention and reduction programs. Grant value is $7,510,583 for 2 years. Funding is through Oregon Housing and Community Services and $536,541 of budgeted county general funds. 16, approval of a grant application for the Staff Sergeant Fox Suicide Prevention Grant Program to provide non-clinical suicide prevention services to the Clackamas County veteran population. Grant value is $750,000 for 1 year. Funding is through the Department of Veterans Affairs. No county general funds are involved. Mr. Chair, that concludes the consent agenda.
Wow. I just have to say, I think we need to have a word count, and we're all going to challenge you because I keep looking for you to make one little mistake and you haven't, so.
It's like story time at the county.
Oh, my gosh. Let's give him a round of applause. Come on, geez, give it up to Andrew. I was like, he didn't even run out of breath. Sorry, I just was sitting there amazed. So that, I guess, should be something for the future. We're going to have a word count, Gary, if you can make sure we have that, and we'll just keep making it longer and see if we can get him. But anyway, so with that being said, do any of my colleagues wish to remove anything from the consent agenda? Seeing none, may I have a motion?
I move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
All right, Commissioner Savas has moved to approve the consent agenda. Commissioner Schrader, a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, clerk, would you please call the poll?
Commissioner West.
Aye.
Commissioner Helm.
Aye.
Commissioner Schrader.
Aye.
Commissioner Savas.
Aye.
Mr. Chair.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0, Mr. Chair.
Again, thank you. Thank you. I will now recess as the Board of County Commissioners and convene as the North Clackamas Parks and Recreation District Board of Directors. Gary, what is next?
Next is the consent agenda for the North Clackamas Parks and Recreation District. Andrew, would you please read the consent agenda?
North Clackamas Parks and Recreation District Consent Agenda. Item A, approval of a public improvement contract with Greenpoint Design and Construction for the Aquatic Park Roof Replacement Project. Contract value is $779,175 for 3 months. Funding is through the North Clackamas Parks and Recreation District Capital Repair and Replacement Fund budget. No county general funds are involved. Mr. Chair, that concludes the North Clackamas Parks and Recreation District Consent Agenda.
Thank you. Any fellow directors wish to remove any item from the North Clackamas Parks Rec District consent agenda? Seeing none, may I have a motion?
Chair, I
I'm-
move that we approve the consent agenda as read.
Second.
Right. Commissioner West has moved to approve the North Clackamas Parks Rec District consent agenda. Director Schrader has seconded. Any further discussion? Seeing none, clerk, would you please call the poll?
Director Helm,
Aye.
Director Savas,
Aye.
Director Schrader,
Aye.
Director West.
Aye.
Mr. Chair,
Aye.
motion passes 5-0, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. I will now adjourn as the North Clackamas Parks and Rec District Board of Directors and convene as the Water Environment Services Board of Directors. Gary, what is next?
Next is the consent agenda for Water Environment Services. Andrew, would you please read the consent agenda?
Water Environment Services Consent Agenda. Item A, approval of personal services contract with Jacobs Engineering Group for engineering services to design the Hoodland Water Resource Recovery Facility Capital Plan. Contract value is $361,480.93 for 2 years. Funding is through Water Environment Services Sanitary Sewer Construction and Water Environment Services System Development Charge funds. No county general funds are involved. B, approval of an amendment to a contract with Lynn Chicani for additional consulting services to the Kellogg Creek Administration Building Project. Amendment value is $13,000 for 3 months. Total contract value is $153,000 for 3 years. Funding is through Water Environment Services Sanitary Sewer Construction Fund. No county general funds are involved. Mr. Chair, that concludes the Water Environment Services consent agenda.
Thank you. Do any of my fellow directors wish to remove any item from the West consent agenda? Seeing none, may I have a motion?
I move we approve the West consent agenda.
Second.
All right. Director Helm has moved to approve the West consent agenda. Director Savas has seconded. Any further discussion? Seeing none, clerk, would you please call the poll for us?
Director West.
Aye.
Director Schrader.
Aye.
Director Savas.
Aye.
Director Helm.
Aye.
Mr. Chair,
Aye.
motion passes 5-0, Mr. Chair.
I will now adjourn as the Water Environment Services Board of Directors and reconvene as the Board of County Commissioners. Gary, what is next?
Thank you. Next is County Administrator update. I have an update for you on documents I signed on your behalf during your recent recess, and then I have some good news to share. First, under the Clackamas County Code, Appendix C, Division C-0500100, Section 5, Section 2, the county administrator is authorized to sign documents on behalf of the Board of County Commissioners when a quorum of the board is not assembled for 2 consecutive regularly scheduled public business meetings or more. The Board of Commissioners, you are on recess from June 26, 2025 through July 17, 2025, and during that time, there was 1 contract I did sign on your behalf because I felt it was urgent enough that it could not wait for your return. I don't like to do that, but in this case, I was persuaded that it was important to sign this 1 contract, which I have done. It's on the screen right here. It's here for the record. I've already approved it, so there's no need to affirm it. I just wanted to inform you what I've done. And I emailed this to you previously as well. What I signed was for the Department of Transportation and Development, approval of a board order for a purchase order with Potter's Industries for glass beads and reflective roadway markings. The order value is $450,000 for 2 years. Funding is through the county road fund. No county general funds are involved. By signing this a week ahead of when you would have signed it, we saved approximately $100,000 in road projects that would not have happened if we would have delayed this an additional week. So I thought that was worth it for the public good, and there were no county general funds involved, which gave me also more comfort in signing this. But again, I signed this on your behalf. If you have concerns, I'm happy to hear them. But again, it's done. It's already done. I'm just informing you of what I've done. Do you have any questions or concerns that I signed this, Commissioners?
Thank you, Gary,
Thank
for
you.
saving us some money.
Thank you. And then, thank you. And then if I may, some quick good news I'd like to share today. Our North Clackamas Parks and Recreation Department, or District, received a wonderful note of appreciation from a local softball player who recognized our employee Tyson Johnson. And the softball player wrote, I've been playing softball at North Clackamas Park for several years, and I wanted to compliment every groundskeeper there, especially Tyson Johnson, who very well might be my favorite employee ever in any area, state, or nation. Tyson is so personable with each of our players and their families that many have told me how kind, caring, friendly, and conscientious he is. When we've had rainouts or near rainouts, he's worked harder than any other groundskeeper I've ever seen at allowing us to play. He's also helped people with various injuries and disabilities with great kindness. He is an absolute treasure, and we enjoy North Clackamas Park the most of all the places we play because of him. Thanks for the excellent job that all of you do, especially Tyson. So thank you to the person who wrote that note, and congratulations, and thank you, Tyson, and all of our crew for the work they do to maintain our parks. Next, our CCOM, or 911 Center, had another stork delivery. This is when one of our dispatchers helps a mother deliver a child on the telephone since the mother can't make it to a hospital in time. In particular, our stork award goes to 911 dispatcher Liesel Grolbert, who 1 week ago today helped bring a baby girl into the world who was born in a Winco parking lot.
Oh, my God.
So thank you to Liesel for talking that family through the process, and everything worked out great, and everyone is healthy and happy going forward. So thank you to our employees of CCOM and all our employees for their phenomenal work they do every day. That is my update today, Commissioners. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Gary. I wanted to take something just out of order before I went to Commissioners' comments. I believe Mr. Poole showed up, wanted to say something. He got here a little bit, so I'll just quickly open the meeting to general public testimony. So come on up.
Good morning. Does this mean I get 5 minutes? I'll be brief. One of the things I wanted to share with you is that as someone that worked real hard to establish evening meetings, and I'm real, as a lot of the folks that know me know that I'm real big on public involvement and public awareness. And I do want to thank the chair and the board for agreeing to have one evening meeting a month. It's summertime, so I wouldn't expect any great attendance at this time, but September will be here soon, and I'm sure there'll be plenty of issues to address. Also, having the opportunity to speak at the start of the meeting for some really helps. So I want to just express that. A couple of other quick subjects. One is we don't have enough time today to talk about ODOT and the effect of that massive failure in Salem with House Bill 2025. And my concern, I think it's a concern that everyone shares, is that it certainly would be a concern for Commissioner Helm from Damascus. We have a Sunrise Corridor project, and in 2020, Metro muffed it up. That's about as nice as I can put it. And no funding, no progress. Now we're at the stalemate, and while I know the board and the county can't magically create money or advance the project forward, but it's something that is just so imperative, and I'm real concerned about the traffic and where the priorities are, especially with Metro in so much control of the planning. So I know we're going to all be addressing that, whether we're an elected official or someone that's out in their car stuck in traffic. Last thing I want to mention is the county, as some folks know, is opening a recovery center or a recovery campus in Clackamas, in the little historic neighborhood. And the concern of the neighborhood is that there wasn't much notification. And for something of this nature, the notification area should have probably been 1,000 feet rather than notifying only people within a block and a half. So you may hear some concerns about that. And certainly when the time comes for this to go before the Planning Commission, I'll be advocating for a 1,000-foot notice. If the folks don't know what's going on, it always comes back and bites us. Thanks again for letting me speak.
All right, thank you. Commissioner West wanted to comment before we went to
Can I
Commissioner.
really
Rowley.
quick
Yeah,
response as
yeah.
part of that? Les, I appreciate your comments. I do want to respond to some of that. The Recovery Campus is something that I'm very involved in. We did a number of, if people are speaking to you, so you might have some additional information, I just want to make sure that we correct the record when necessary. We did do a number of like actual community meetings and with surrounding neighbors. When we sent out notification, Gary, wasn't it much larger than it was miles. It was like much larger than the actual like required amount, and we actually drew a bigger map to try to send out those notices much further, 3 miles or something along those lines surrounding the campus. Am I correct, Gary?
Yes.
Yeah, so we have done, maybe we could do more. I think we can always do more. It's hard to get all those notices out. We want more people to engage. We're still open to those conversations. We actually had community stakeholder work groups with staff, many meetings where people could attend and they could share their concerns about transitioning this property into a recovery campus. We've met with other stakeholders privately, faith leaders, nonprofits, neighbors, held meetings at the actual space, and did public notice 3 miles or larger radius from the actual property. So we did try to take that into consideration. I'm always open for suggestions on how we can do better public communication, and we always want to do better communication, and I'm more than happy to have that conversation with anybody that wants to. We're still open to those conversations, so I hope they continue. Please share your concerns, your thoughts, your ideas. We're listening, but I just wanted to make sure that that information was out there. If there's anything else, Gary, to add, please, on that.
We have a website, too, that has
Yeah.
all the information for the
The
public.
website is quite robust, too, with all the information on it. Yeah.
All right, thank you, Commissioner. I'll go ahead and close the public, general public testimony portion, and I'll switch back to Commissioner Communication. And two of my colleagues were at NACO. They had a great flight home, and we're glad they're back here. So I'll go ahead and turn to Commissioner Schrader first.
Yeah, flying to the East Coast in summer is somewhat problematic because having actually grown up there, although I've lived longer here in Oregon than on the East Coast where I grew up, so I'm officially a webfoot anyway, but I've never forgotten the thunderstorms and how they pop up everywhere and how it disrupts absolute plane flight. So not that I want to bore you with the details, but we were supposed to fly into Charlotte, let's see, where did we get directed to? Raleigh, North Carolina. Had to stay in Raleigh for a night and then take another 40-minute flight back to Charlotte in order to get the flight back home here, and that is because of actually severe weather patterns. So in a sense, I always kind of dread trying to fly to the East Coast during this time of year because I've gotten caught in Dallas, I've gotten caught in New York, so, but we survived. It was quite the adventure, kind of Toad's Wild Ride, right? We're both, and we're here this morning. But one of the reasons we were there, and let me just talk about that a little bit, if I may, Chair, is that we were at the National Association of Counties Conference. And I have been in leadership there in community economic and workforce development, but we are also noted out with all our 3,000 counties out in the nation for the work that we've been doing on child care and housing. So I had an opportunity to serve on a panel which was Unlocking Opportunity, How Counties Can Lead on Affordable Child Care and Housing. I had the honor to be with Honorable Toyoa Tucker, who is a councilwoman from Columbus, Muskogee County, Georgia. And then Ms. Angie Rogers, who is the Deputy Chief Administrator, Officer, Economic Development, Prince George's County, Maryland. One of the reasons I'm mentioning this is because what happens when we go there, it gives us an opportunity as counties to look at innovations across the county, which is something that we normally try to bring back. And this time, I was asked to speak, and what I had talked about was how essentially we were hitting it out of the ballpark with our support of housing services, as well as the amount and number of housing that we have been building in this county. When I added it up, within the last 2.5 years or more, we have built over 1,000 units, officially 1,013 units, and 240 of those units have been permanent supportive housing, and we have partnered with 6 out of our cities. And we're attempting to increase that number in our county to collaborate with some of our other cities. What have we built? Tukwila Springs, 48 units, Fuller Road Station, over 100 units. Good Shepherd Village, that was 143 total units. Las Flores, 171 units. 100 total units in Mercy Green Bay. Hillside Park was 275 units. El Nido was 55 total minutes. And Ben, you're going to have to help me because this is in Wilsonville. So what is Viola? Viola. That was 121 total units that we've opened up. We are essentially, they were very impressed with what we've been able to do because we have the oldest housing authority in the state of Oregon in 1937. So when we get the dollars, okay, from the bonds in order to build the sticks and bricks capacity, because we have such excellent staff, we pretty much can hit the ground running and increase our capacity pretty thoroughly. But the other thing they wanted to know is, well, how do you help with childcare and affordable housing? How do you keep those costs down? So I talked a little bit about how, again, innovative we've been, and I'd like to give a shout out to the folks of our Early Learning Hub. I know Danny Stam, and who is our director again? Gary, I'm going blank.
Adam Freer.
Adam Freer and Danny Stam are top-notch folks. And what they are is a part of what we call our statewide learning hubs. And what are the learning hubs? They're a coordination point, bringing together education, health, community organizations that leverage and maximize the impact of local and statewide resources for children and families, and that includes child care. So essentially, what do? They're kind of like a concierge service in a way. They identify service gaps, they direct support to families who need it most, especially in underserved rural areas. They have actually mapped all the, maybe low-income areas in our county, and they've mapped where our quote-unquote childcare deserts are. So they're really been working very, very hard to prioritize developments and programs that integrate affordable housing with accessible child care. And so they always partner with culturally specific organizations, and they do outreach and services that are relevant to really the diverse communities. They also wanted to know how we supported economic development. We have a great economic development group of folks too, Laura and Dan Johnson, who are doing all that kind of work. And they collaborate with our education and workforce partners to get people into education, to get them trained, whether it be starting in a community college, going into apprenticeship programs, moving on to higher ed, in order to get trained for good, high-paying jobs, so we have a pipeline. So that collaboration between our education, our workforce partners, the folks that are building our housing, and the folks that are really attempting to really increase the capacity for childcare in our county, we are now a national model. And I did have folks come up to me afterwards, and I only had a document with me called, prosperity, and jobs, and how we work with our private sector. And they all wanted copies of that, because what I told them was one of the reasons we're successful is we're the public part of this, all right? We have the nonprofit part of it, and we also have the private part of it. And because we have worked closely with our businesses in this community to talk to them about what a return on investment will be if they help us get childcare for their employees, magic has happened. Daimler has childcare I want to say Vigor has childcare on campus. We've talked to places like KinderCare, trying to help them find land so they can locate. And one of the bigger issues that we need to be working on is this. We really seriously need, and I said this at the conference, need to be co-locating childcare and all these housing units that I've just talked about. We really need to start thinking about how we co-locate childcare facilities with those units as a part of the supportive services that we provide. But we have some barriers there, and the barriers are that they are considered commercial entities, so it increases the cost with prevailing wage. So one of the things I want to do is work with our union folks. I want to work with the state. I want to see if we can't somehow backfill that prevailing wage piece, because every time you add an expense to building, it makes it harder and harder to make it more affordable. So that's kind of one of the things I'll be working on, and I felt very lucky and honored to have an opportunity with colleagues across the board who now want us to send them all our materials. To mention how great our county has been in this arena. I also had an opportunity, I'm a part of an economic mobility leadership network. What does that mean? That is, again, how do we get people jobs? How do we help them get up the economic mobility ladder? How do we help them be prosperous? It covers everything from housing to food security to getting people jobs to giving them tools for financial literacy, and also, to give them, sometimes they may be a handout with housing, with clothing and so on and so forth. And the example I used was our own Canby Center in Canby, Oregon, because they are a nonprofit entity that we helped expand. I think, was it ARPA dollars, Gary, that we gave them? With ARPA dollars, because we saw that they were taking every one of these levers that help people move up the prosperity ladder and helping people be successful. So that was another model I had an opportunity to talk about. And I think they're one of our best nonprofit. All of our nonprofits in this county are pretty phenomenal, let's be honest. But I specifically talked about this one because of the whole menu that they are doing to work with folks in Canby that need that kind of help. And I hope that they can expand what they do across this county, because one of our jobs is to help people move up what I call the prosperity ladder. And I could talk forever, so I better stop right now. It was a great conference, except the travel was a little challenging, but I'm glad we got there and we got back safe and sound. And I always like showcasing Clackamas County for all those folks across the nation that want to learn about us. So that's my report.
Thank you,
Okay.
Commissioner. Commissioner Savas.
Yeah, thank you. Just a brief update. I just got back from the JPAC meeting this morning. 3 big topics were pretty much on the agenda today, one being the Interstate Bridge Replacement Project. It was the beginning, a package of 3 basic components of that action, which basically started some of the pre-construction work and engineering that'll go along with it. A lot of concerns raised about that. A number of conversations have been happening for the last 3 weeks coming up to this point here this morning about it. As I shared with you on Tuesday, and based on our staff, ODOT did, since Monday, they did work hard to bring us some more information. It didn't quite fill the request, but essentially, as we know, this project, or all transportation projects, are accelerating in cost, and the amount of money that is available at the federal level, that is available from the state of Washington and Oregon, is inadequate to meet the actual cost of the project, and so the remainder will probably be filled with tolls. and other sources of money probably not as significant. And the greater the toll is, the greater the incentive for people to divert on I-205 as opposed to staying on I-5. So therefore, that is, as I mentioned before, that has been a long-standing 17, 18-year position of this county. And here we are 17, 18 years later and don't have any solution. I think the numbers were hoping at least that the lanes on 205 or the bottleneck would be resolved, and there's no pathway to that either as a result of the transportation package, number one, really not including a pathway to fund that anyhow, as well as, the whole package that did not pass. So there's, we are probably miles or decades away from any solution on that. But if this project is voted on today, Clackamas County, as I kind of suggested on Tuesday, Clackamas County abstained from the vote, but the vote carried otherwise unanimously. The other topics, or the other two things on the agenda, was the RFFA, both Step 1 and Step 2. Commissioner Helm and others testified in favor of the project. So the two RUFA amendments or changes or approvals were related to both Step 1 and Step 2, so one being the Sunrise, one being a Milwaukee project, an Oregon City project, and a project in Gladstone. So we got towards a little bit of regional equity with the RUFA investments, and so good news there on that end. And that's what I have for today, and I'll leave it there. Oh, one reminder, I'm sure you're all going, I hope, but the retreat, the C4 retreat is next week, and we're finalizing the agenda. It was hoped that the transportation package would be resolved one way or another, and I would say that it's in limbo. The conversations I've had, here recently, probably you've heard as well, that there will probably be a special session in August or September. So that the uncertainty is still out there as to what that looks like. It will very, very likely be a much smaller package, if you want to call it a package. Along with that, I will say that it has become aware from conversations around the state that there's a lot of hard feelings among state legislators right now, whether they're in the same party or not, or which party you may call. It's not really a party issue, but there's a lot of heartburn over the fact that how things went down, and not necessarily about whether or not the bill passed. It's more about how things happened or did not happen. And there's a lot of hurt feelings. Fortunately, the counties aren't really part of that, and anyone who watched every meeting, and I spoke to someone yesterday who watched every meeting, made the same observation, that this was a legislative conundrum of sorts amongst themselves. So just be mindful, and we talk to our state legislators, that they're not all in the same place today.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Savas? Commissioner West. I looked right at you. Thank you, Commissioner Savas. Commissioner West.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, NACO, we had a great time. Found a lot of benefit in it. The travel was real rough there and real rough back. I think Martha and I could have gone to Thailand twice in the amount of time it took us just to get to the conference. We got there though. It was like Bill and Ted's Wild Ride, but we got home, and so we're glad to be back and bring back what we learned and the things that we did. One of the things I really have been able to take away from some of these conferences is expanding my policy knowledge in a way that I have to get out and talk to other experts and people that are involved in things that I may not be as strong in as a policymaker. I spend a lot of my time in human services and things like recovery campuses and building out care continuums and how to provide better care to our citizens and doing the public health piece of it. But we do a lot as a county, and there's a lot to learn, and it can be overwhelming. And so I've really appreciated jumping in and getting interested in public lands and forestry and those things that are very Oregon. And, maybe a lot of people in Clackamas County don't realize it, but we do have a lot of timberland and public lands in Clackamas County. And we're probably out of the big counties, have the most stake in that realm. And so I really took some time with what they call the Rural Action Caucus, and it represents nearly 70% of American counties that are rural. And it is a very critical group that interfaces with federal, state, and local policymakers, funding sources, and those things. And so there's a lot of, and public lands is such a diverse topic, right? So what's a public land in South Dakota is different than what a public land is in the western part of the in the more western states. And I spent a lot of time focusing on learning a lot of the history around as we now are dealing with, we get back, and the first thing that pops in my newsfeed is that we have more wildfires already in the state, right? And so a lot of conversation happens around that. We have a new administration, and how are we going to mitigate these disasters? How are we going to have better response with a national disaster? How are we going to manage our public lands? We have something in Oregon that's very unique in the western states. It dates back to the late 19th century. Yeah, late 19th century, get my math right in my head, my dates right. But we have something called, it's very unique, and it's in statute, in federal statute, it's called the Oregon and California, or ONC lands. Oregon California Railroad Grant Lands. And by the way, California doesn't have any of these lands. They're all in western counties, and there's 18 counties in Oregon that have these, and we have these lands in our county. And it's kind of a patchwork of these lands that if they're the timber that's produced, they produce income. And so there's a lot of policy around how to utilize that to have better revenue sharing, so that these rural parts of our county and rural counties can not have to be welfare counties, and they could subsist on their own timber receipts and do this in a managed, surgical, environmentally friendly way that's pragmatic and practical. But we've had a lot of different environmental considerations and different groups that have pushed back against the county's ability to get these receipts. We've all heard of the Endangered Species Act. We've all lived through the spotted owl, and there's other things. But how do we strike that balance in Oregon, to not watch them also go ablaze and up in smoke every single fire season? There's a better way. I just spent a lot of my time with the rural members in rural counties when I was, and learning, and long conversations after general sessions, and sitting down with different nationals, say, I need to just kind of pick your brain, and listening. And so I did that. I appreciated different commissioners from the western states taking their time with me. I've been focusing a little bit more and more on that. The other, I would just want to, we have a new, I normally wouldn't bring this up, but through relationship, he's very interested in the issues related to Oregon, and our commissioners have a good relationship. So Commissioner Bill Notevoy out of Wyoming is the new regional representative elected for our NACO region. And we have spent, and he's out of Johnson County, lives in Buffalo, Wyoming. And we've spent a lot of time talking about these public lands issues in ONC. And so it's good to have a regional representative that's acutely aware and through relationship about what is happening in our county and in the 18 western counties in the state of Oregon. And to pick up his cell phone and be like, what's going on? What's the big buzz in DC? What's happening with SRS? That's a support of rural schools. All of those conversations were happening. There's legislation right now that just passed out of the Senate to help support SRS. So I think I'm rambling like Martha. Get back to these conferences, we feel like that's tell everything with the conference. So and everybody's like, we want to go to lunch.
It's amazing we remember anything.
I know, especially, well, if you asked me yesterday in Charlotte, I would have been like just drooling on myself. You got no information out of me. So overall, it was a great conference despite the travel struggles, and I'm excited to maybe even do some further touring and learning and speaking to our forest managers here in Clackamas County to see where we're at and how things are going. So anyways, I'll leave it at that. I'm really excited about our tour today of FORA. FORA is the organization that is contracted with us, and they're going to be doing the service providing for the Recovery Campus. And so we're going to tour one of their properties and get to know them a little bit better. So much more to report back on that.
We're going together, right?
I think we're all five going.
Yep. Yay. All
Yep.
right.
And I'll yield back and stop babbling.
Thank you. No, you did great.
Oh, no, it's fun listening to your travel excursions, I think. So I wanted to address Mr. Poole, since you mentioned me specifically. I did testify, as Commissioner Savas said, at the JPACT meeting this morning, and I continue to champion for the Sunrise Corridor, for traffic. I know that this next phase ends at 172nd, which is going to harm those of us who live east of 172nd. So I will continue to champion for those of us in the Damascus-Boring area to try to get the roads fixed at some point in our lifetime. It's ongoing, as you well know. I'll be attending tonight's Hoodland CPO meeting. So I look forward to meeting folks there tonight. I just want to listen. I want to learn about the work that they're doing up there, the volunteers, and the issues that their community is facing. I'm continuing to meet with department heads and getting briefings, as they call them. Some of them are long briefings, some of them are short. I'm meeting next week with the Economic Development Division and the Tourism Department. So I'm anxious to learn about some of these areas. Some of them I've met with more than once because I keep coming back with questions that it's hard. There's a lot to absorb in a short period of time. So there's different aspects of it that I want to learn about that are important to me, especially as they relate to the economic development of the county, land use, industrial land, transportation, and how they all actually fit together and will make our county prosper. So next week I'll be visiting the new courthouse for the first time. I have not stepped foot in the courthouse, and I know I've been a courthouse basher. I apologize. I will say that just because I have not been in. I'm not judging the courthouse and what it represents or anything. I am just fiscally conservative when it comes to the use of taxpayer dollars. So I look forward to seeing it and getting a nice tour. As we continue to have hot weather, I encourage everyone to please check on your neighbors, check on the elderly. I did hear the other day that most of the deaths in the region were men over 50 who live alone. So if you know someone during these hot weather periods, please do check on them.
Great, thank you. Just a couple quick comments, and Commissioner Savas and I, a little over a month ago, month and a half maybe, we were at the Fairground Board meeting, and some things that were brought to my attention I thought were very impressive, and so I think to make sure I also get it correctly, it's the Clackamas County Event Center, and as a young kid that used that, I was in 4-H, and the fairgrounds there was really had a lot of great memories, and what I was really impressed about is really how many memories they're building on a regular basis and the number of things that they're doing. So just to give you some perspective, in 2024 they had 221,300 visits, 413 events, that they ranked 92nd percentile for similar properties nationwide. Economically, the impact is $29.4 million. Just to highlight a couple of things they have the Canby Brew Fest in May, Oregon Renaissance Fair, which brought in about 20,000 attendance per weekend, which I was shocked about. They also have a Hair Fest. They have the county fair actually brings in 68,000 people. And the economic impact that they showed just for that was a $9.4 million. And they have the Oregon Celtic Festival. They even have an adult prom in the fall. And really the list goes on and on about the different opportunities there. So I would just encourage you to kind of look at the website. And just to highlight that the building that is in progress, it's called the Evergreen Expo. It will be completed in June of '26. And it's very exciting to see how many great things are going on at the fairgrounds. And the board there is just doing an amazing job. I know, Paul, you've been on it for a long time, and just seeing the direction of these great things. And the only other thing I might add is I'm going to echo what Commissioner Helm said is Please check on your neighbors, seniors, those that are disabled, and particularly those that don't have air conditioning. It is extremely hot, and even drinking enough fluids often isn't enough. I mean, that's where having to have electrolytes or other things, just because this heat is really exhausting. So please check on your neighbors. And if my colleagues have no other comments, with that, on behalf of the Board of Commissioners, thank you for joining us today. And no further business. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everybody.